introduce you to what WASM is, at least based on my understanding. So WASM began as a effort by all the major browsers in order to run code other than JavaScript on the browser. The idea is to make everyone to create. So JavaScript is an interpreted language, right? All the code is compiled just in time. Like the browser downloads the code and then it compiles just in time in order to run the code. So it's quite inefficient in terms of so there's not a lot of optimization which the runtime can do, like the which the browser engines can do. So WASM came as a solution to that problem. It came as a stack machine. So it's designed to be efficient. It's a binary format, so there's no compilation which the browser has to do on top of it. It's a memory safe sandbox execution environment using JavaScript. Like it's implemented inside the existing JavaScript virtual machine, and it's open, debuggable. It's in a textual format. Like all of the WASM code which I've seen so far, it resembles Lisp in a way. In the sense, it's um, see if I can find a WASM file.
Yeah, it's a dot WASM file, right? It's like if you read it, it looks exactly like a binary.
Yes, that is correct. It's a binary
What
file.
about WAD file?
I'm sorry, who's that?
I'm Ravi, by the way.
Hey Ravi. Hey, so let me introduce you to Ravi. So Ravi runs the Rust meetup in Chennai. He also gives a lot of talks in international conferences, as well as gives a lot of workshops. So he's here to probably compare and contrast WASM support in Rust. So I invited him to join us, and he's the one who introduced me to WASM. And okay, so VAT file. So Ravi, would you like to talk more about it, like what VAT is?
WAD full representation of WASM. I think it's, if you take a look at the WAD file, you should be able to see the expressions, the modules and stuff, the module functions. It should be readable. You have the studio, right? It should be there, right?
Yeah. So I think I have to build it to get the WASM VAT files, right? So I'm okay. So this is in C right now. So the code which you're going to see is it's just a main function which returns 42. It does a WASM export on it, and I don't see the intermediary VAT file for some reason. So on running it, you do see the thing. Hello.
What happened?
So I just built the WASM. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so in the studio you can actually this WASM file is editable as a VAT file. Yeah, so you can see the instructions which are being printed out of WASM. So these are the so even though it's a text, it's a binary file. Let me just do a file command on it. lib.wasm. Okay, I don't think I can do it on the command line. I think the support for it is only in the WebAssembly Studio. So this WebAssembly Studio, I think it's an open source effort. It's by WASM SDK group itself. So this allows you to write code, do JavaScript interop with code written in other languages on the browser itself. Like you can you can build code. So if you look at my main.js, see a lot of guess. Okay, so I don't know the names of people. I hope the screen is still visible. I can increase my font size. Let me know if things are not visible. Hello.
Yeah, you can increase.
Is this much better now?
Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So first, let me open main.js and main.html. So this is what the browser is going to serve, right? So this is my main.html. My main.js file, what it does is it's going to fetch only from the WASM file. It's only going to fetch the WASM file, and then it's going to run a response. So when it does a fetch of it with the response, it then runs a WebAssembly.instantiate. So this WebAssembly.instantiate is now a web standard itself. Let me just show you from the console. So I have the JavaScript console opening. So WebAssembly is now a first-class citizen in JavaScript itself. So it's calling, it's taking the WASM file, it's trying to read that as a bytes and passing it into the WebAssembly.instantiate. Like once that code runs, it then prints out the results for it. Like it runs it. So that instantiation itself runs that code, whatever is inside the WASM file, which is this one here. So if you look at it, it kind of looks like assembly. In the sense you have type t where's 42? Okay, yeah, here is where 42 is. So you're saying that, hey, this is a so this kind of looks like less, but it's not. So you have to it has a lot of overhead built into it, WASM files. For smaller programs, your entire program is pretty much just one line. Like right here, like your main function is this one line of code. The thing is, you can edit this. So I'm just going to run it as 56 now, and if I run it, I should see 5642. So WAT files, so WASM files are editable as .wat files, and is automatically reassembled to .wasm. So I think this this is something which is part of the WebAssembly Studio itself. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ravi. So I'm not sure if you can do that directly from the command line.
It's just that the studio gives you the option.
Right. So from the
I don't
perspective
know, there's
of
some lag between the audio, and I'm hearing echoes all over.
is that so? I'm not sure if I can do anything about that. Maybe from next time you'd stick to.
Never mind.
Hello.
Hello? Yes.
Ravi got cut off for some reason.
I'm here. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes. I can hear you now.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. So I'm just rebuilding that so that I can get the old WASM file back. So using WebAssembly Studio, you can run code on the web browser itself. The other thing which you could do with Go WebAssembly is this thing. So I'll send this one. So this is a tutorial which I was following in the evening to explore Go WebAssembly in Go. So you can follow along. We'll be actually following along to this tutorial. So Go recently got WebAssembly support as part of Go 1.11. So it's a
1.11, right?
yeah 1.11. So thing is, what you could do is you can pass in Go's and Go Arch WASM to build the WASM file. So basically, the idea is you can build a WASM file in any using any code itself. So, for example, I can write my own. So let me increase my font size first. So I'm writing my own add.go file, or some package main fun main, and inside here I'm going to do fmt.print ln 42. But okay, so instead of doing a print 42, I'm just going to return 42 out of this main function. That's pretty much what I'm doing. So now if I apply the flags goose arch
but
and goose WASM,
that should give you an error, right?
why?
Because main expects void to be returned.
That's correct, actually.
Oh, it built. Oh, no, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
It didn't. So main must have no. So let me just look at the example code which they have. They are doing actually just
The example it prints it.
yeah. So they are doing a direct printing. So we'll also do the same thing. Now the question is, how do I get the WASM file onto this thing? Okay. So let me just open this up, folder up, and I have this add.wasm. Let me see if I can. Oh, perfect. But it's empty. So I am using. Oh yeah, okay. It's not empty. It just took a while to load that compiled WASM. Oh my god. Okay, so it's not an apple to apple comparison because C is just returning integer, which is different from printing it on the screen. So these are two different things. So here, instead of doing a fetch, I'm going to do a add.assembly and see what happens. With WebAssembly instantiation, imports argument must be present and must be an object. I wonder what that is. Okay, so I seem to be missing the page which I had open for WebAssembly. Yeah, okay, yeah. So if you look at it, instead of calling, oh, okay, so it does this thing. So if I go inside my just will do this. Instead of main.wasm, I'll do out slash add.wasm. Support file. So this wasm exec is where the magic is happening. So this is already imported in my main. Oh, it's not actually.
Oh, yeah. It comes with Go, right?
Yeah, I think so. So let me do that to execute.
Oh, yeah. The
You'll
word
also
Go
need
is a part of that.
Okay, let's add this file as well. How do I do that?
Side panel and upload files.
Which panel? I'm sorry, Arjun.
The
On
the
the
files,
left.
the files, the directory, the file tree.
I don't want to download. I want to upload a file.
Yeah, on the left side, you see WebAssembly Studio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, below that.
Yeah, I dragged and dropped over there. The thing is, it says lease site.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what it says.
okay.
So that's the problem is. I'm not able to figure out how to upload it to. Probably I'll do this. Okay, let's see what happens. New site. Yeah, it just executes. Yeah, that's not what I want. Okay, let's try and do it from the command line itself. So I'm creating a new folder, simple example. Let me copy the main code. So it just prints vim go for now. That's fine. And I'm going to compile this file. Get WASM. Copy the JavaScript support file. The WASM exec into it. And create a HTML page. I hope you guys are able to follow along. So just looking at the contents of index.html, what it has is it loads the wasmexec.js, which we have pulled in. So this is something which is coming from Go environment root, right? Let me just show you what the where this folder lies. So this is part of Go N. So along with Go 11, a misc folder has been added. I think this was actually part of misc folder was already there. WASM support came along with this. So now you have WASM and WASM exec and WASM exec.js. So let me just open this up as well. Let me open code from all these three places. First, let me open simple example.html. Yeah, my computer is quite slow. I'm sorry about that. It just takes a while for things to like run, especially when I'm like opening a new shell. Awesome. So it has detected it as bash. So this is the WASM exec, which is provided by Go. They have like a test example, but we are going to use not the WASM exec. We are going to use the example from the site, which is like quite simple. All we are going to do now is just serve this file. So one way to serve this file is to use Go itself. I tend to use PyHTTP server because it's way more.
I tried this in the morning. Somehow it did work. It expected application slash WASM in the header.
One second, huh? We'll get to that. We'll see what's happening. We'll probably debug it on your system, Arjun.
Okay. But it worked with Go actually.
Okay, we don't see anything.
No, you should check the console.
Exactly. That's because it does not actually update anything on the UI. It just expected application WASM. Okay, so it doesn't seem to work with PyHTTP server for some reason. Let me try with what it suggested. So the three files. Oh, I have to install another tool. So this is not exactly related to WASM. So Go exec actually runs Go code like as if it's a Ruby based binary, like the way in Ruby you can pass in a command, right? Ruby hyphen you can do puts hello world, like same way, like you could do from the command line. So it's executing a script. So just bringing that capability into Golang world. So it's not a big deal. I'm just waiting for it to install. Once my internet well, let me just jump to this part. So you should see Vim Go. So the content of that Go WASM is this. Yep, seems to be running. Oh yeah. So what just happened? So instead of running it on the browser, so in the browser we are seeing the error that the MIME type is wrong, right? That's probably because of the incorrect setup of like the MIME type is not recognizable by the server, by PyHTTP server. I think you use PyHTTP server in the morning. Is that so, Arjun?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Okay.
You are using
Okay.
instantiate streaming, right? In the JavaScript.
I'm sorry. Could you
In the
repeat that
JavaScript
question?
file, you are using in
In the JavaScript file, is it? So this is the JavaScript file, the WASM exec file, which the goes thing asks to load up. So it's okay. So yeah, here is the JavaScript code. Sorry, this is the JavaScript code which gets executed. So it does a fetch of main.wasm. So incorrect MIME type could be because of this fetch itself, fetch call itself. Is that what you're saying? Let's figure that out.
But this seems to be working with echo in Go. With echo.
With what? With Go exec, is it?
No. I created a simple HTTP server with Go, and it worked. I didn't specify any MIME type in that.
Huh. So this is on 8080 now. Actually, my 8080 is occupied by something else. Let me do it on 800, 8000 itself. Yep. Okay. So for some reason, PyHTTP server wasn't able to handle this. And coming back to what you were saying, Arjun, what was it that you're saying? Okay, by the way, it shows up in the console Vimgo. Let me change the text to something much more relevant, which is hello WASM, and recompiling it. Yeah, so this is the command to recompile. Go building, and now we should see hello WASM.
Yeah.
Awesome. So this seems to be like the basic version, basic code which we can execute with WASM, right? Now, the thing with WASM is like you can compile code from different languages into WASM itself. Like the WAT file format is same across languages. Like no matter which um, okay, like let me do it with the empty Rust project. You'd see the so if I build and then when I run it, so let me first build it so that I get the output WASM file. So it seems about the same, like the format of WASM is same across languages, no matter which language you are using, whether it's Rust, whether it's C, whether it's um, Go, the WASM file format would be the same. The binary output would be the same. The thing with WASM is that it allows you to run code much faster because you have an intermediary. Think of it like a bytecode, like a ahead of time compilation, which happens with your engine. So with your JavaScript engine. So WebAssembly itself is a binary instruction format for a stack-based virtual machine. You don't have access to heap. You cannot create objects on the fly. um, Even though you are using Go, you do not have everything under the sun. Like you can't it's quite limited in its capability.
Yeah.
So why
But you can
use
still
WASM?
use Go routines.
Yes, you can still use Go routines. That's true. So the one example which I was working with was this one, the Go assembly tutorial. Like, let me kill this file and open up main.go. So you can use channels. Um, okay, how do we use Go routines, right? Actually, you wouldn't be able to use Go routines. So to use Go routines, you'd need the Go scheduler and Go runtime. Where
Oh, I tried this today.
like let me modify this code to add Go routines. Um, hmm, how do I do that actually? So what this guy is doing is he's taking input from the document. He's getting the value for the first file, for first value and second value, and adding them up. So he's doing the same thing for the subtract function as well. So he's doing it in two different ways and setting it on the console. So if I do that, let me remove add related code so that I have his code from the tutorial. I've sent the link of the tutorial. So I would just have to compile it. I think he has already compiled it in lib.wasm. Um, so this is the wasm code. And he has created a server. So I just have to run. Or just do a server. So it's now, or rather, let me change the port. 1000 and compile again. Or I'm just skipping the compilation. So go run server.go. I think the server is running so that I can kill it. Now it should run properly. Are you guys able to see my screen and hear me? So add seems to be working. So subtract code does not seem to be working at all. So we can modify this code to work on the subtract code. By the way, there's nothing to do over here where it's in. So the rendering part, right? The HTML part is over here. So you have the add button and the subtract button, which takes in values. So on click, it calls subtract 2, 1. So you're actually passing it values directly, 2 and 1, and trying to update. Oh, you're doing a println. So when I click on subtract, what's going to happen is it's going to print on the console. It's a lame example. So if I click on subtract, you'll see the count going up. That's because subtract is not dynamically
It's not fetching from the text field.
yeah, exactly. It's not fetching from the text field. So what we'll do is we'll modify this in the same way. Value 1 and value 2. This is going to be a pretty much a copy paste of the same code which we have here. Let's see if we can actually create a generic method, func get value as integer or as string itself or as integer. So we pass in a field name field ID, and this would give us an integer back. So our I0 would become field ID. So remember this, the JavaScript to go interrupt is happening over here, right? We are calling go code from JavaScript. JavaScript is dynamically typed. It does not have any types associated with it. So we are calling dot string on it to generate the value as is first, and then to convert JavaScript's format into a string which Go understands, into a format which Go understands. Let me remove this. Let me use this thing. String a teacher, and it will just return that as is. It's assuming that this value is convertible to string. So we can remove most of this code away. We could just do value 1 equal to get value of I of 0, and then we can do value 2 is get value of I of 1. I hope this makes sense. So now I'll be doing value 1 minus value 2. Oh, okay, so what this guy was doing was instead of doing a subtraction directly, he's doing a okay. I don't know what output is. I hope this is visible. Remove these two lines. Now these two functions are identical. The only difference is there is a subtraction happening. Okay.
Yeah.
On purpose, I've not made one change. This code should bomb, but before that, let me first compile the WASM file. WASM file would not have a problem. So to do that, let me copy that instruction again. The environment variables WASM, and my file is going to be main.go. Okay, so okay, let me just do this. Awesome. Okay, so I was able to compile my WASM file, and now let's see what happens on my this thing. My server should still be running. I'm reloading the page, so it would be serving the new WASM file if I run the server, that is. So now my server is running. Sorry. Okay, go run server.go, because I want to change the port. I don't want it to be running on 8080. So Go WebAssembly has been initialized. It has.
Yeah.
How do we know if it has loaded our old code? We don't know, but subtract would bomb. Why? It shows a panic index out of range. If you look at the code closely in the button call, the register has happened on add and subtract, right? Subtract takes in JS values, an array of JS values. But the thing is, with the JS values, I have not supplied the third argument, which is result, which is the ID of the field in which it's supposed to write the result in. So it tried accessing this code, and in the browser itself it shows me that, hey, my main.subtract in the main.go line number 27, it had a problem, even though my WASM file wasn't the one which is getting served. My main.go is
Hello.
not getting served. Hello.
The video is gone. Hello?
You cannot.
Okay, now
Oh
it's
yeah.
back. Now it's back.
Do you have it now? Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So WASM is still able to detect stuff which is happening. Like it has information. It has the exact line where the execution failed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it shows me that on the browser. So that's the cool part about it. So now I have fixed my um, index.html, which is just going to be served. I'm reloading my index.html, and now let's see what happens. Right now, I've not, mind you, I have not changed anything in my main.go. That code is correct. It was just that the calling code had an issue.
Yeah.
So now you can see that subtraction is happening. Sorry, the screen was quite small. So now the subtraction is happening across, like with WASM. Awesome. So that's pretty much a whirlwind tour of WASM. So syscall/js is where the magic is happening. One thing which is happening here is you. Can you see my screen better?
Yes.
Yeah. So so just to walk through what's happening within main, we'll just refactor one more thing. Um, so we can now get rid of like a lot of unnecessary code. So the only interface you have is a array of JS values which you can take, and then in your code you'd have to do index based access.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
Same problem. So now it can't use get keys because it has a return type.
Mm.
Uh huh. Ah,
What?
you see what's happening? So you can't
Oh,
do that
okay.
because Go uses Go routines for this. So I think he mentioned this. Like you can't use um, Go routines, but stop because I'm waiting for actual Go routines.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm. If there are
Yeah,
no
you
go
can't
routines,
use. Yeah, net HTTP relies on Go routines entirely. Like all
okay.
of the code uses Go routines.
Right.
So because no Go routines, your code's gonna bomb.
Uh,
Yeah. So you can. So actually, JavaScript is pretty good at making net HTTP calls and all that. I don't
mm.
see why you'd use Go for that. Rather, what you'd use Go to do is pretty much heavy mathematical calculations. Like for example, you have Fibonacci series
Mm.
and generating Fibonacci numbers,
Okay.
or doing like cryptography, like all that. It makes sense to use this thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, WASM. So I guess I'll call it a night with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Arjun. Thanks, Abhishek. Thanks for sticking around till the end. Um, I know a lot of people dropped out. Like we did get through a lot of stuff. So at
Mm.
least for me, WASM is much more clear as to what or how to achieve it. Probably the thing which, if you are intending to work more on this, would be to read more on WebAssembly and understand what's happening inside this, like
Correct.
what are its capabilities, and then the other side of the thing is to understand syscall JS.
Yeah. Mm.
So syscall JS comes from WebAssembly dot J web. I think it comes from. I'm not sure where it's coming from. In fact, IntelliJ seems to be complaining about it. Sorry, Visual Studio Code is complaining about it. So, yeah, your mileage may vary. Awesome. I think this was a good session. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Bye bye. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Arjun.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Good night.
Bye. Bye. Good night.
Good night.